and I put it in the oven, and literally my entire house started smoking, and it smelled like chemicals, and we were like dying. It literally says air dry clay, and I put that in the oven. My name is Chelsey Farias, owner of La Morenita Linda. I started my business back in 2020, officially selling earrings. I started off with beaded earrings, and gradually I've added more things into my collection. The name La Morenita Linda stemmed from my childhood. My nickname is Morena, Morenita, Negra, Negrita, right? And a lot of shame came from that. I hated being the only brown one in my family, but I shared the same skin color as my grandma, so her and we related on that. And a few years before 2020, I had gone to Mexico and visited my roots for the first time. In the back of my grandma's garden, she had passed, and I went to go visit. In the back of my grandma's garden, she had this really beautiful tree and garden where she had this tree planted, and that's where my logo comes from. And I have always been a really, really creative person. I've always loved making things and just DIYing things, right? And so I started learning how to make beaded earrings. My grandma was also very creative. She would always knit and just make things, so I think that's where I got that from. But I was just inspired, and when I was thinking about names, so many stupid names, and my sister was like, dude, it needs to be after you, like you need to name it after you. And so she came up with La Morenita Linda because they call me Morenita, right? And my tío calls me Morenita Linda, and so I just wanted to name it after me, and I knew from the inception of my business that I wanted it to represent me. I wanted it to represent my culture, where I come from, my roots, and I think my brand has become what I wanted it to be, and I didn't think that it would be to where it's at this point. Yeah, so I'm just really proud of my business, where it's come from, and my name, where it came from. Obviously now it's La Morenita Linda because I know that brown is beautiful, but it took a long time to get there to really embrace my culture, my Latinidad, right? I think what helped me achieve the success in my business and the following that my brand has is just my authenticity. I know that I don't have right 0.K following, but the following that I do have, like all of those people interact with me. All of those people are interested in my everyday life, and there was a while where I wouldn't post as much, but I would just hop on my stories and just be myself, right? Just be who I am, being loud, being ridiculous, sharing like the things that I go through, the funny things that happen to me, because my life is a mess. And I think people really love that because they're able to relate to me, and I don't have to put on this persona. I can just be myself, and genuinely just being yourself. A lot of people ask me like, how'd you get so many followers? How'd you get so many people to support your business? How, right? And I'm just like, as corny as it is, just being yourself and just being authentic. And there's no tricks. There's no like things that you need to do except being yourself, and people will come to you. Like I had some people at my pop-up say, I didn't even come to buy earrings. I came to just like talk with you and hang out with you. And then I wanted to support you. So first they came because they liked me, they wanted to hang out with me, they thought I was funny, whatever. And then they're like, I guess I'll buy some earrings. So I think just being yourself, right? As corny as that is. I wish I would have done a lot of things differently when I first started La Morenita Linda. But honestly, I'm grateful that I just took a jump, because if I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be here where I am today. But I have a funny story. When I first started, I first started with beaded earrings. So I would bead earrings, and then I started with clay earrings because clay was like popular at the time. And then now I do like gold stuff or whatever, and my merch. But when I was starting to work with the medium of clay, there was nothing out there. And when you would ask the people that were like big for help, they would like gatekeep, which is fine, right? They don't owe me anything, but they wouldn't tell me anything, so I had to figure things out by myself. So I went to freaking Walmart and I bought air dry clay and I put it in the oven, and literally my entire house started smoking and it smelled like chemicals and we were like dying. It literally says air dry clay and I put that in the oven. So there was a lot of like ups and downs and like fails and trial and error that I had to go through. But obviously I learned along my way. I just, I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing that I would do differently, is just educate myself first and then do it, instead of just jumping the gun. And right. And some of the earrings that I first made were freaking hideous and they're so embarrassing. And there's still some people out there that rock them. And when I see them, I'm like, ah, and I just die. But yeah, overall, those are the things that I would do differently. Some challenges that I faced in my business. Honestly, it's hard. I think if in any community, there's like issues that go along with being in a certain community, right? Like in the photography community, in the bow community, in any community, there's gonna be maybe not backlash, but just like some people that are not as friendly. Some people, like, it's hard when you don't have a community that you can like go to and like talk to. Sometimes it could feel like really lonely. But the thing that helps me get through it is that there are other people in the community that come to me, that talk to me, that tell me like, hey, I started my business because of help that you have given me. So I guess with the bad, there comes good. But I found really good people in the clay community that I have helped, that have helped me. So I'm glad for those friendships. Dude, my culture has inspired my designs, my business, like literally everything that comes with it. From the name, from the stuff that I make, from the stuff that I put on t-shirts, right? Like how I said, when I was younger, I was ashamed of my culture. Like, I didn't want to look too jabby. I didn't want to look too paisa. I didn't want to, like, I didn't want people to see me as like as a jab, which is sucky. And I love it now. And looking at it today, I don't know if you've noticed, but like there's a lot of like young kids that like they wear their vaquero outfits, they wear their botas, they listen to like this music that is now a really, really big genre, like Spanish music. Back then, my mom would pull up to school to pick me up, like bumping corridos, and I would get embarrassed. I would get so embarrassed. And now, like, it's okay to be Mexican, right? It's okay to show your culture. And it just sucks because, yeah, I was embarrassed back then, and now, like, I've embraced it. Like how I said with my brown skin, like, I felt like I would get made fun of, and I was the only one in my family that was brown, right? Like a darker skin. I need a little bit of sun right now. But when I do, I look like morena, right? I look prieta is what they call me too. And so, yeah, I used to be ashamed of my culture, and it sucks. Now it's a beautiful thing. Like I've really embraced it. And like even going to Mexico, I get so much inspiration from there. I don't know, like literally in Mexico, one of the main mediums that they use there is clay. It's a different form of clay, right? It's like clay pots, clay barro. It's barro. But yeah, I'm able to use it to inspire me. Like literally every single day, there's so much inspiration in our culture, and I just like, I have endless ideas. Like what I was talking about with you earlier. I have so many ideas for photo shoots, for merch, for different earrings that I want to make, and stepping outside of the boundaries of just like what Mexican traditionally is, but like meshing like what it is to be Mexican American, what it is to be Mexican, what it is to be American, what it is like just, yeah, far beyond just the Frida Mexican, right? It's like there's so much more to being Mexican American, Latino, Chicano, Chicana, right? There's so many different things that come with it, but yeah. So many artists that inspire me. Mostly, I would say there's other brands right now that inspire me. There is like stuff from back then, like obviously Frida Kahlo, right? Like Diego Rivera and different artists back then in their art. There's also, what's that lady's name? Let me think of her name. Her last name is Soto, but I have a painting of hers, right? Like art form of hers. Soto Murphy, that's her name. Well, that's her last name, but her two last names. So I just get inspiration from a lot of different brands right now in the moment. that are doing like amazing things. There's this one brand that I really, really love, Eurodonics, I think that's how you say her name. But she really highlights our culture in a very unique way, and I just really love her work. There's also like Ghetto Rodeo and Every Paisa's a Star. There's a bunch of businesses. I could shout out a million, like Color a la Mexicana. There's so many businesses that I just get inspired by every single day, and that I'm just like, hell yeah, if they can do it, like I can do it too. And I can use my creativity, and I can use like what I like and put it into my brand because I know other people like it too. Yeah. I might get into a creative rut. Like right now I'm in one, just because I get lazy. Honestly, that's what it is. I get lazy. Or sometimes I feel so uninspired because I have the same shapes to make earrings. I have the same, right? And it's hard to make it different. Like if you have a square, you can make a square earring, right? But all these other people are making a square earring too. So it's like, what about you is different? Why would I support you instead of supporting this other person, right? Like, so you gotta find ways to make this square different and unique. And that's the hard part. But what helps me get out of a creative rut is like retail therapy. I know that sounds funny, but I'll like go buy cutters, or I'll go buy like different colors of clay, or start mixing different colors, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, like this is what I want to make. And also like trends that are coming up. I try to make earrings that are trendy but also timeless in a way. I don't know. And a lot, yeah, I don't know. We'll cut that. But yeah, that's what I get in. I try to get out of the rut by buying some things that are going to help me be more creative, and getting on Pinterest, making Pinterest boards. Yes. I love to incorporate traditional artistic styles into the things that I make. So not even just like in the things that I make myself, but the stuff that I curate. So as many of you know, I sell also like earrings like this that I'm wearing right now. So like metal pieces, I try to get pieces that are more traditional and more inspired. Sneak peek, I am bringing more of like the pulseritas into my business, and just like trying to find things that are good quality but also very affordable, because one thing about me is like I always want to be affordable because I grew up poor, and I want to, if I was young, I want to be able to purchase my own things, right? But I just look at things that have been worn traditionally in our culture, and I'm like, how can I use this but make it modern, right? And especially with like barro, I get really inspired by like the terracotta color, and just like there's a lot of new art forms that are coming out right now in Mexico with like very carefully detailed like pots and vases, and with like little flowers, or like just a lot of pretty things coming out, and I always get inspired by that. And when I go to Mexico, all the colors and everything, like I wish I could bring that here with me so that I can make more art about it. But yeah, I have multiple places that actually inspire me. Obviously the biggest one is where my family's from, which is Colima, Mexico, but in particular Rincón de López. If you know where that's at, great, but it's like literally like a little tiny rinconcito. But I get inspired by them, by that town, just because it's like no one knows where it's at. Like it's just very, very small, but it's so beautiful. It's more of like a rancho. It's like worn down. It's like there was like a big earthquake recently, and a lot of the buildings kind of came falling down. But like my grandma's house, it's like an open building. There's a front door, but it's like not a front door. You know, like you can see through it, air goes through. Like it's like an old school like Mexican house. But I find a lot of beauty in that, like the rundown places and like those buildings that have lasted all of the natural disasters, right? And so I get a lot of inspiration from Rincón de López, and my sister hates going there because she's like, it's boring, there's nothing to do. But I just love it because I get inspired. That's where my grandma's buried. That's where my dad lives. That's where my grandpa lives. That's where all my ancestors have lived for the time being, in the time past. So yeah, I get really inspired by being in Colima, Rincón de López in particular. But I also get really inspired from where I grew up too. Like I grew up on the east side, right? I get inspired by that. I was really raised around like the Chicano culture, around gangsters, right? Around that kind of lifestyle. And even though there's negativity that comes to it, there's a lot of beauty in it and a lot of beauty in the struggle, right? So like I said, I grew up poor. I grew up on the east side. Literally, we did not have money for like accessories and stuff like that, but the money or the accessories that we did have were like really good quality. And I remember I would sneak into my mom's closet and like steal her jewelry and go to school like all right, like acting like I was all nalga, yeah, dripped out in my mom's accessories. And so I just, yeah, that's where I get inspiration from. And I get inspiration of like for my pricing, inspiration for my clothing, like who are the people that I want to wear this, who is my demographic, who are the people that are buying from me, right? And like making this accessible to me, right? Making this accessible to my family. Like, would my family be able to afford this when we were younger? Would they be able to afford a $30 shirt? Maybe not. Would we be able to afford a $20 shirt? Yeah, right? And so just thinking about things like that. But I just get inspired in every aspect of my business, from where I grew up, how I was raised, and like where my family's from. The goals for my business in the next couple years is, so I want to come out with a new merch collection, because I came out with the merch collection and everybody loved it, and I sold all of my t-shirts and stuff, and then everybody's like, when are you going to come out with more, right? Like I can only come out, well, I want to come out with a lot more designs, but it's just like sitting down and writing them. So this summer my goal is to come out with a new collection. That's my timeline, right? And I've been working with Fonzo on something. He's amazing. He's the one that screen prints my shirts. But yeah, I want to come out with a new collection. I want to come out with something with new photo shoots, where I told you my ideas that I have. In the next 5 years, I just want to keep growing. I want to be consistent. That's the main thing. I freaking suck at being consistent. I want to just grow my following. I know it's not a really big deal, but that just means that like, hey, like you're reaching people that you don't even know, right? Reaching more people that want to support you from other countries, right? And mainly just being more consistent. I don't know. People ask me if I ever want to open up a store. No, because then I have to be there and I have to open it up, right? I mean, maybe in 5 years, quit my job and just do this. Like that'd be amazing, to just be creative and just do what I love, right? But I also love my job. I'm a teacher, if you guys don't know, but I love being a teacher too. But I just like, in my personal business, it would be great if my business would be able to sustain me and like I could stay home with my dogs and just be here. That'd be amazing. But just coming out with more merch, coming out with more collections. That's mainly it. Just taking it day by day, being consistent. I just think it's amazing that all the people that I've started with are still here, still buying from me. I'm like, damn, I don't know where you store these earrings. I don't know how you have so many. But just like building better relationships with my clients, because that's mainly the main thing. But yeah, not too excessive of goals, but just taking it day by day, you know? I just want to say thank you. I never would have thought that I'd be here, right? I started off with these little janky, ugly earrings. And the same people that bought earrings for me back then are the same people that buy for me now. And you guys say they're beautiful, even the ones that I bought in the beginning. And it just like means so much to me that you guys would spend your hard-earned money on me, right? I would have never thought that I'd be here, right? A kid from the east side, a kid that didn't have any money. Like, I used to make these little earrings when I was little, and I never thought that it would have been this, right? Shout out to my bestie, Pochita's Candy. She's helped me a lot with just like content ideas, how to do the business thing, right? I love her a lot, and I just met a lot of amazing people throughout this journey, and I'm just like really, really grateful. And I feel like I'm gonna cry just because like thank you is not enough. And I wish I could give all of you guys free earrings like for lifetime as a thank you, but I can't, because obviously, right? But I'm just like eternally and forever grateful. And I'm just like thankful for those of you that are going to be new, that are going to come along the way. Just thank you. Muchas gracias. I'm so thankful. Every single day my heart feels so full, and there's no words that I can say. Shout out to God, right? That's my biggest motivation in this, and I couldn't have done this without him and his guidance. And just like my grandma, my mom, my mom's mom, right? My family that always just like continue to support me, or that come into my house and just steal my earrings and take them. But regardless, I'm just like I'm thankful for the support.